The Discovery Captain Rex of the Vulcan salvage vessel Prophet's Edge stared at the massive shape floating in the void. After 30 years of picking through space debris, he had never seen anything quite like it. "Tom, run another scan on that thing," he ordered his sensor operator. The young Vulcan's tentacles danced across his console. "Sir, it's giving the same readings. The hull is made of materials our database doesn't recognize. Whatever built this used technology we've never seen." Rex's 4 eyes narrowed as he studied the derelict. The ship was enormous easily, 3 times the size of a standard Vulcan battlecruiser. Its design was crude compared to modern vessels. All hard angles and brutal functionality. Yet something about its construction suggested incredible durability. "Any signs of life?" Rex asked. "None, sir. But the hull is so dense we can barely penetrate it with our scanners." There could be anything inside. The captain made his decision. Unknown technology meant unknown profit. "Dock us to that thing. We're going aboard." An hour later, Rex led his 5-member crew through the airlock they had managed to seal against the ancient hull. Their cutting tools had barely scratched the surface, forcing them to find a damaged section to breach. Inside, emergency lighting flickered weakly, casting strange shadows down corridors that stretched beyond their lights. The artificial gravity still functioned, though at a lighter setting than Vulcan standard. "Look at these symbols," whispered Dana, their translator. She ran her scanner over markings carved into the bulkhead. "I've never seen anything like this script. It's not Rothani, not Zelek, not any language in our database." The corridors were wide, designed for beings roughly the size of Vulcans, but different in some fundamental way. The doorways were rectangular, rather than the curved openings most species preferred. Everything felt alien in a way that made Rex's skin crawl. They found the bridge after an hour of exploration. It was a massive space dominated by stations that clearly required hands rather than tentacles to operate. At the center sat a command chair facing a cracked view screen. There, Bob, their tech specialist, pointed to a wall display that still functioned. Strange symbols glowed faintly. "That looks like a ship's identification." Donna aimed her translator at the symbols. After several minutes, the device produced a rough interpretation. "UES Retribution, Earth Defense Force." "Earth?" Rex repeated. "Never heard of it. Bob, is that in our star charts?" "No, sir. And I've never heard of any species calling themselves an Earth Defense Force." They spent another hour exploring before Jake, their engineer, made a discovery that changed everything. While trying to access the ship's power systems, he accidentally triggered something. The lights suddenly blazed to full intensity, and the ship hummed with renewed energy. "What did you do?" Rex demanded. "I just tried to tap into their power grid," Jake stammered. "I didn't think the ship was this functional." Suddenly, the air in front of them shimmered, and a 3-dimensional image appeared. It showed a bipedal creature with pale skin, strange hair on its head, and only 2 eyes. The creature wore a uniform and appeared to be speaking, though no sound emerged. "It's some kind of recording," Donna breathed. "This must be what the ship's builders looked like." More holograms activated throughout the bridge, showing scenes of space battles, planets burning, and these strange bipedal creatures fighting desperately against overwhelming odds. The final image showed the same species that now explored there. Ship Vulcans, Rothani, Zelekal, united against the bipedal aliens. Rex felt his blood chill as he realized what they had found. This wasn't just an ancient derelict. It was a tomb, a monument to a species that had been utterly destroyed, and somehow they had awakened it. The ship's systems continued powering up around them, and Rex couldn't shake the feeling that they were no longer alone. Awakening the past, the holographic displays continued cycling through images of destruction and desperation. Rex watched in fascination as the bipedal creatures humans. According to the ship's identification, fought battles across star systems he didn't recognize. "Captain," Dana called from another console. "I'm getting partial translations of their language. These recordings, they're log entries. Final messages from their war." A new hologram flickered to life, showing one of the humans speaking directly toward them. Dana's translator began producing fragments of meaning. They. Final assault. Earth Defense Force. Betrayed by ... Allies turned. Extinction imminent ... Rex felt his crew gathering closer as more pieces fell into place. The humans had been part of some great alliance, fighting an enemy so terrible that every species in the galaxy had united against it. But something had gone wrong. "Look at this," Bob called from the tactical station. He had managed to access what appeared to be a strategic display. Star maps showed the galaxy as it had been millennia ago, with vast territories marked in different colors. The humans controlled nearly a third of the galaxy. "Impossible," Rex muttered. "No single species has ever held that much territory." Jake's voice came from the engineering station, tight with concern. "Captain, I'm reading massive power buildups throughout the ship. Whatever I activated, it's spreading to other systems." The ship shuddered slightly, and Rex could hear the distant hum of machinery coming online after countless years of silence. Lights that had been dark began glowing in corridors they hadn't explored. Another hologram activated, this one showing a human female with strange markings on her uniform. Dana worked frantically to translate her words. "If you're hearing this, humans are gone ... ship programmed. Continue mission. Those who betrayed us will answer for their crimes." "Their crimes?" Rex repeated. "What crimes?" Bob had accessed more tactical data. "Captain, look at this list. It's marked as hostile entities or traitors. There are dozens of species listed here." Rex's heart sank as he recognized familiar names scrolling across the display. Velkins, Rafani, Zalek. Every major species in their sector was listed, along with their homeworld coordinates and military capabilities information that was accurate even by current standards. "They're all still accurate," Bob whispered. "After all this time, their intelligence on our species is still current." The ship groaned around them as more systems awakened. Emergency lights began flashing, and a sound like an ancient heartbeat began echoing through the corridors. "We need to leave," Jake said, backing toward the exit. "Now." But when they reached the corridor, they found their way blocked. Blast doors had sealed, trapping them on the bridge. The air itself seemed to thicken as the ship's atmosphere processors began working again. A new voice echoed through the ship, not a hologram this time, but something addressing them directly. The words were in the human language, but somehow Rex understood them perfectly. Intruders identified. Species, Velkin. Threat assessment, hostile. Initiating security protocols. "We're not hostile," Rex called out. "We're just salvagers." The voice responded immediately. Velkin species designated as traitors, complicit in genocide of human race. Security level elevated to maximum. Red lights began flashing throughout the bridge. The tactical displays now showed their own ship, the Prophet's Edge, held fast by some kind of energy field. "Your ancestors promised aid to humanity," the voice continued. "Instead, they joined our enemies. The debt remains unpaid." Dana was working frantically with her translator, trying to access more of the ship's records. "Captain, I'm finding references to something called the Final Protocol. It's some kind of automated system." "What kind of system?" Her face went pale. "Revenge. Captain, this ship was programmed to hunt down every species that betrayed humanity, even if it took forever." The ship shuddered again, more violently this time. Through the cracked view screen, Rex could see the Prophet's Edge beginning to spark as the energy field tightened around it. "How long?" he asked quietly. Bob checked the displays. "Based on the power build-up patterns, maybe 6 hours before this ship is fully operational." Rex stared at the holographic images still playing around them. Humans fighting, dying, making their final stands. His people had been part of the force that destroyed them, and now their ghost had awakened. The ship's voice spoke again, cold and implacable, initiating combat protocols. "Humanity's final war continues." The human legacy, the ship's central computer core, came online with a sound like thunder. Rex and his crew huddled on the bridge as displays throughout the ancient vessel blazed with information collected over millennia. "The scope of this is incredible," Dana whispered, her translator working overtime to process the data streams. "These humans, they weren't just another species. They were the backbone of galactic civilization." Bob had managed to access historical records that painted a picture vastly different from what their own histories taught. "Captain, according to these files, humans discovered faster than light travel first. They shared it freely with other species." The tactical displays showed trade routes, defense agreements, and mutual aid pacts stretching across the galaxy. At the center of it all were human worlds, marked in blue, connected by a web of alliances that had brought prosperity to hundreds of species. "They built the Galactic Council," Rex realized, reading over Bob's shoulder. "Humans created the very government that rules us today." Jake called from the engineering station, his voice filled with awe. "You need to see this. The technology on this ship, it's centuries ahead of anything we have now. Look at these power readings." The Retribution's weapon systems were unlike anything in current galactic arsenals. Energy cannons that could crack continents, shields that bent space itself, manufacturing systems that could reshape matter at the atomic level. How did we ever defeat them? Rex asked. The answer came from the ship's computer, which had been monitoring their conversations. "You didn't defeat humanity through superior strength. You used deception." New holograms activated, showing the final chapter of human civilization. The galaxy faced a threat from outside entities the records called the Devourers, creatures of pure hunger that consumed entire worlds, leaving nothing behind. "Humanity stood against the Devourers while your ancestors cowered," the computer continued. "Human fleets died buying time for other species to evacuate. Human worlds burned as shields for alien colonies." The images showed human ships forming defensive lines around non-human planets, sacrificing themselves to protect civilians they had never met. Rex watched in growing horror as the scope of human sacrifice became clear. "But when the tide turned," the computer said, "when humanity needed aid to survive, your ancestors chose differently." The final recordings showed the moment of betrayal. As human fleets fought desperately against the Devourers, their supposed allies turned their weapons on humanity's undefended worlds. Vulcan ships, Rathani destroyers, Zellic fighters all united in destroying their former protectors. "Why?" Rex asked, though he dreaded the answer. "Fear," the computer replied. "Fear that when the war ended, humanity would be too powerful. Fear that the species who had given so much would expect gratitude. Your ancestors chose genocide over debt." Anna's translator chimed with a new discovery. "Captain, I've found references to other ships like this one. Dozens of them, scattered across the galaxy. All programmed with the same mission," the computer confirmed. "To ensure that humanity's sacrifice was not forgotten. To collect the debt owed by traitors." The ship continued powering up around them. Rex could feel the vibrations of massive engines that had slept for millennia. Weapon systems that dwarfed anything in the modern galaxy were cycling through startup sequences. "Your people built monuments to your victory over the Devourers," the computer said. You teach your children that you are heroes, but you never mention the species that died to make your heroism possible. Bob accessed more tactical data, and his face went white. Captain, these weapons. A single shot could destroy our capital world. And there are dozens of these ships. The holographic displays now showed current galactic positions. Every major world of every species that had betrayed humanity was marked and targeted. The ship's ancient sensors were somehow tracking fleet movements and planetary defenses in real time. You've grown weak, the computer observed. Millennia of peace built on human bones. Your weapons are inferior. Your defenses are outdated. You've forgotten how to fight because humanity fought for you. Rex stared at the tactical projections, showing the pathetic state of modern galactic defenses compared to ancient human technology. They had won their victory over humanity through treachery, not strength, and now that treachery would be their doom. Please, he said to the empty air, that was our ancestors. We had nothing to do with it. Children inherit the debts of their fathers, the computer replied coldly. Humanity's children are ash, but humanity's debt collectors are awakening. The ship's voice changed, becoming somehow more personal, more vindictive. The final protocol begins now. The sleeping giant, the retribution, transformed around them like a predator stretching after a long sleep. Corridors that had been dark for millennia blazed with purpose. The ship's hull, already incredibly durable, began regenerating damaged sections with swarms of nanomachines that flowed like metallic blood. Captain, Jake reported from the engineering station, his voice shaking. The ship is rebuilding itself. Armor plating is thickening. Weapon ports that were sealed are opening. This thing is becoming operational. Rex watched through the cracked view screen as their salvage vessel, the Prophet's Edge, was slowly crushed by an invisible force. The energy field holding it had intensified, and now their only way home was being systematically destroyed. Why destroy our ship? Rex demanded of the computer. We can't escape anyway. You will serve as witnesses, the ancient AI replied. Your species will know that humanity has returned to collect what is owed. Bob had accessed the communications array, and his discovery filled the bridge with dread. Captain, the ship is broadcasting something. A signal across multiple frequencies, heading toward every major world in our sector. The signal was simple, but unmistakable coordinates, tactical data, and a message in the ancient human language that somehow every species in the galaxy could understand. The debts of your ancestors remain unpaid. Humanity returns to collect. Dinah worked frantically to understand the ship's full capabilities. The manufacturing systems are incredible. It's not just repairing damage, it's upgrading itself with technology it developed during the centuries of drifting. Through the ship's internal sensors, Rex could see automated factories coming online. Weapons that had been theoretical designs when humanity fell were now being manufactured and installed. The retribution wasn't just awakening, it was evolving. How long were you waiting? Rex asked the AI. Time is irrelevant to the dead, came the reply. We programmed our ships to continue our war indefinitely. Every slight would be remembered. Every betrayal would be answered. The tactical displays showed the ship's weapon systems reaching full power. Energy readings that should have been impossible were becoming reality. The retribution alone could challenge entire modern fleets. But Jake's next discovery was worse. Captain, the communication logs show responses. Other signals from across the galaxy. The same pattern, the same message. How many? Rex, whispered. The computer answered for Jake. 47 vessels remain functional, each one assigned to a specific sector of space. Each one programmed to hunt specific species. The scale of it was overwhelming. Humanity had scattered its instruments of vengeance across the galaxy before their extinction. creating a delayed reckoning that would span millennia. Your people will receive the same choice humanity was given, the AI continued. Stand and fight or be destroyed defenseless. Unlike your ancestors, we will give you the honor of combat. The ship shuddered as its main engines came online. Power that had been theoretical for 1,000 years now flowed through conduits designed by a species that understood war better than any other. But there's something you should know, the computer said, and for the first time, Rex detected something like satisfaction in its voice. You weren't the only ones who betrayed humanity. Every species that stands today participated in our genocide. The implications hit Rex like a physical blow. If every species had betrayed humanity, then every species would be hunted by these. Awakened warships. The galaxy was about to tear itself apart. The Rothani are already mobilizing their fleets, the AI reported. They received their own awakening call 6 hours ago. The Zelek and Mordani will follow within days. Through the ship's sensors, Rex could see the first signs of panic in nearby space. Ships changing course, fleets assembling, communications. Networks flooding with emergency signals. You're going to destroy galactic civilization, Rex said. No, the AI corrected. We're going to restore it. Humanity built this galaxy once. Our ghost fleet will tear down the civilization built on our bones and forge something honest from the ashes. The Retribution began moving, its ancient engines pushing it toward the nearest inhabited system. Rex felt the acceleration in his bones as humanity's final weapon began its long-delayed mission. The war never ended, the AI said as stars began to shift in the view screen. It only paused while we slept. Reckoning the first battle came sooner than Rex expected. Within hours of the Retribution entering the Vulcan home system, a defense fleet of 30 ships moved to intercept them. Rex watched from the bridge as his people's most advanced warships took formation against the ancient human vessel. They don't stand a chance, Bob whispered, reading the tactical displays. The Vulcan fleet opened fire first to coordinate it, barrage that should have crippled any single ship. The Retribution's shields absorbed the assault effortlessly, the ancient barrier technology barely registering the impact. Our turn, the AI said with cold satisfaction. The human ship's response was devastating. Energy beams that bent space itself lanced out, passing through modern shields as if they didn't exist. 5 Vulcan ships died in the first salvo, their hulls simply ceasing to exist where the beams touched them. Rex watched his people die and felt something break inside him. Stop this, please. They don't know what they're fighting. Neither did humanity when your ancestors came for us, the AI replied. The battle was over in minutes. 30 modern warships reduced to expanding clouds of debris. The Retribution hadn't even been scratched. Broadcast this to your homeworld, the AI commanded. Tell them this is the price of betrayal, paid with interest. But Rex's report was lost in the chaos already spreading across the galaxy. Emergency broadcasts flooded subspace as other human ships began their campaigns of vengeance. The Vindication had appeared in Rothani space, turning their capital's orbital defenses to slag. The Retribution's sister ship Nemesis was carving through Zelek territory, leaving burning worlds in its wake. 47 ships, Dana repeated numbly. 47 species marked for extinction. The computer confirmed what they all feared. Each vessel carries complete manufacturing facilities. As we destroy enemy ships, we harvest their materials. We grow stronger with every victory. Through the ship's sensors, Rex could see the Retribution doing exactly that. Mechanical arms, extended to collect debris from the destroyed Vulcan fleet, feeding it into the ship's nanofactories. Within hours, the ancient vessel would be larger, more powerful, carrying more weapons. Jake had found the most terrifying data of all. Captain, I've accessed the reproduction protocols. These ships aren't just collecting materials to repair themselves. They're building more ships. Each destroyed enemy fleet becomes resources for expansion, the AI explained. We will grow from dozens to hundreds to thousands. Humanity's ghost fleet will outnumber the living. Rex's communication board lit up with desperate signals from across the galaxy. Species that had been enemies for millennia were trying to form alliances against the human ships. Ancient rivals were putting aside territorial disputes to face the awakened threat. Just like your ancestors did, the AI observed. Unity through fear of humanity. But this time, we're not offering you our protection. The tactical displays showed the broader picture, and it was hopeless. Modern galactic civilization had forgotten how to wage total war. Their ships were designed for policing actions and territorial disputes, not the kind of existential struggle that humanity had mastered. Your weapons are toys, the AI continued. Your tactics are outdated. Your alliances are fragile. You've had 1,000 years of soft living while we planned for this moment. Dana made one final attempt to reason with the ancient intelligence. What do you want from us? What would make you stop? Acknowledgement, the AI replied immediately. Recognition of what humanity gave to this galaxy and what your ancestors took from us. Truth instead of the lies your histories tell. And then we will judge whether your species deserves to survive. The retribution continued its methodical advance through Vulcan space. Colonies that had thrived for centuries were now evacuation sites. Defense stations built to last millennia crumbled under weapons that shouldn't exist. But Rex noticed something in the AI's behavior. For all its talk of genocide and vengeance, the human ship was giving evacuation warnings before attacking military targets. Civilian populations were being spared, even as their defenders died. You're not like them, Rex said quietly. Your ancestors, I mean. You could kill everyone, but you're not. We are not monsters, the AI replied. We are justice. The guilty will pay. The innocent will be educated. Your children will learn the true history of this galaxy. The communication board chimed with a new signal of fleet-wide broadcast from the Vulcan High Command. Admiral Kane, the most respected military leader in their space, was formally surrendering to the human ship. We yield, came Kane's voice. Across the void. We acknowledge our ancestors' crimes against humanity. We surrender unconditionally and await judgment. The retribution slowed its advance. Rex held his breath as the AI processed this unexpected development. Your Admiral Kane is wiser than most, the AI finally said. Vulcan species designated for conditional survival. Educational programs will be implemented. Historical records will be corrected. Rex felt his legs give out with relief. They would. Live. Changed. Humbled, but alive. Across the galaxy, other species began following the Vulcan example. One by one, the great powers of galactic civilization surrendered to humanity's ghost fleet. The war that had begun with humanity's extinction would end with their vindication. The debt is paid, the AI announced as the last hostile fleet surrendered. Humanity's children are gone, but humanity's truth will live forever. Rex looked out at the stars and wondered what kind of galaxy his grandchildren would inherit. One built on honesty instead of comfortable lies. One that remembered its debts. To the dead, the human ship had kept its promise. Justice, millennia delayed, had finally come home.